In summary, this small group task is intended for you to know what's available by Optimus, and Optimus is great at making sure that what we're going to do, they pull all the standards that are evidence-based standard, gold standard, and we move forward. So take advantage if you ever want to learn a little bit more about those areas. Practice putting in your BMIs. Just practice, and then still continue to check off, know that you're not going to be reporting MIPS. It's something we're going to have to just do all the rest of the year unless something comes up differently. Okay. I'm not going to give you a break on this one because you just took a break, sort of, by going into groups. So let's go on to insurance deductible. I am going to set a timer because we do need to stay on track here. So this one's going to be a 15-minute session. Lydia, we're going to have to fly through this one. Oh no, Sylvia, I'm sorry, Chuan and Sylvia. So we'll both chime in here. It's a new thing and I need you to grasp it, not grab it. Grasp it, I also need you to embrace it. It's a little unorthodox, but it's not unethical. Okay, I'm gonna repeat that. Unorthodox, yes. Unethical, absolutely not. But we've got to find some kind of formulaic manner in which we can go for speed here in our practice when it comes to doing evaluations. All right, so we are going to be facing high deductibles and high copays, probably at a more aggressive level than ever before. All of you, especially HE and East, we faced this last year. It was literally like if
daunting.
They had patients had just fallen away. Our clinics were not dead, but they were quiet. It was a very sad and a very scary moment. Patients would walk in here, they would call. When we told them they're deductible, no, I can't go. And it was call after call. So we need to be ready for that. We have a lot of components that we decided to put in place to prevent us from just being in shock, because that's exactly how it was. As you know, we were meeting therapists back and forth. So this is one of the things that we came up with at the management level. We thought if we could create a sample formula and say, before UPTs get interrupted, because we've got other things to, the OCs would say in their mind, if I could only tell this patient how much his treatment's going to cost approximately. Well, they would come only to find out that sometimes, no, they decide not to come. So thus the birth of what we call the unorthodox sample formula. On the average, we hope that on day one, you would use a 97530, some type of a functional CPT code. If they're going to be there for treatment, 97110 times 2. There goes your 3 units. And because we are very driven in outpatient ortho with pain, you most likely at the beginning use your G code, your electrical stim unattended, which is your 014 or your G code for Medicare. They're your 4 units. Average 1 hour's worth of time, because the average patient should stay in your clinic 45 minutes to an hour. And there are some insurances that won't pay you more than that. So don't keep them. I see a lot of people charging 5 units and writing 1 off. Get in the habit of just learning how to take care of the patient within that hour. Because you're taking up too much square footage when you keep them much longer. Not saying that you don't. 15 minutes is fine. For a patient to be there an hour and a half or 2 and not be able to recoup that kind of money, that's a lot of square footage that you're using. So keep that in mind. So the formula that we said is we're going to use it, the 97530 times 1, 97110 times 2, 97014 to give us, to move forward. First, when that patient comes in and confirms a high deductible, they will calculate the amount per visit based on your average CPT code utilized on a treatment visit. Thus, the sample formula. On your first open bullet, the OC reviews the prescription. They have a patient at Dr. Smith 3 times a week. For how many weeks does he like his patients to come? 18 weeks. Sometimes. It's like 8 weeks long. It's a long time. So that's 24. But just an example. Meisenheimer, very good now, 2 times a week for how many visits? 8, that's his average. Start to know averages, you guys. These doctors are not moving very much from their average. Mansfield, Urea, 3 times a week for 4. Cromer, these are just standards. So don't fight with these prescriptions. This is what they are. We have to fight in a different way later on. So now the case manager looks at the prescription. If the physician has written a diagnosis, the frequency and duration, use that. If they don't have a prescription, use that which we usually do in our practice, which is 2 to 3 times a week. It is rare that a patient comes in here 5 times a week unless they're work conditioning. It's very, very rare. Does it happen? It does once, maybe a year, but not very frequently. So that 2 to 3 times a week duration. For how long duration? 2 to 4 weeks. So it makes us move in that direction so that you have something. Notice the PT hasn't been interrupted yet. PTs, you are not in the picture yet. These OCs are all looking at this. So using the CPT code sample formula, calculate your dollar amount per visit for the respective insurance carrier. This is where Sylvia, not quite yet, but Sylvia's department comes in. She has a notebook there in all of the clinics that says, even though we charge $50, Blue Cross Blue Shield will only pay me $23.62. Or even though I charge $50, this insurance carrier will only pay me X amount of dollars. So that's why you have to go to the perspective, so that we could see how much that patient would actually be responsible for. So then you multiply that amount either by 2 visits or by 3, have these formulas already written, ready to go when you're going to talk to your patient, and to give you your weekly amount. And then don't stop there, because by this time you're at about sometimes $135 in 1 week. Then tell the patient, and your doctor wants you to come here 4 times a week. Wants you to come in 4 times for 4 weeks. So now you multiply 135 times 4. So sir or ma'am, you're going to owe, and you give them that big amount. They need to know that. They have a deductible, it's $2,000. It's January 2nd and they haven't used it. They haven't gone to anywhere else because they got that prescription December 30th. So this, you just give them real numbers. And then they say, I can give you a solution. So there's where you're informing them. PTs have not been interrupted yet at all. So the OC rapidly determines if the frequency of the MD requested or the average that you calculated utilizing the CPT code, what we call sample form,